Okay, so this is the Lola level, otherwise known as level 28 from the Venus CTF labs from HackMyVM.eu. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do when we solve any of these CTF challenges is we need to read the mission.txt file here. So when we read it, we're going to see that the user Celeste has left a list of possible .html pages where to find her password. So basically, what we're dealing with is inside of this file over here, pages.txt. If we take a look at pages.txt, we're going to see a bunch of different potential HTML pages where we can find that password. So the problem is that we don't know which one of these are going to be valid, and it would be a big pain in the butt to try to manually insert each of these to figure that out. So what we're going to do is so the second thing we need to know about this level is that we need to access the web page that is being hosted locally. So we can use the curl command to access the locally hosted web page with this command over here. So here we've got we've got a password, and I think this is a password for another user. What we need to do is we need to access a specific page. So the names of those pages is going to be in pages.txt, all of these over here. So what we need to do is we need to try each one of these with the local host to see which one matches. And in order to do so, I've actually got, okay. So what we need to do is we need to create a little file. We need to adjust this pages.txt so that it actually has the .html appended to each one of these entries. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new directory inside the temp directory, and we're going to call this .Lola / shyhat. And this is just a directory where we can start modifying some files, because we're not allowed to modify anything inside our home directories over here. So we're going to create that directory, and then we're going to copy this pages.txt file over to that directory. So we're going to copy pages.txt to copy this, paste this. Okay, and now we're going to go to that directory. Okay, so this is pages.txt. So we can now modify this file. And let me ask our know-it-all friend ChatGPT over here. So what do we want to do? We want to append the text .html to each line in a file in Linux. How do we do this? So you can append HTML to each line in the file with Linux with tools like sed and awk, or by using a loop in the shell. Here's how. Okay, so we're going to try using sed over here. So this sed command over here, we need an input file and an output file. And with this command over here, we're going to append .html to each one of these lines. So let's just copy this, then go over here, paste in the command. We need to adjust the names of these files. So we're going to create a file called url.txt, and we're going to input pages.txt. Okay, so this command should append .html to the ends of all those lines. So let's do that. So if we take a look at url.txt now, so we see that all of the lines have been appended with .html. This is what we want. So the next thing we want to do is we want to run a kind of complicated little command over here. So the command is complicated, but we're going to analyze it a little bit before we run the command. So what we're going to do is we're going to read url.txt, and then we're going to pipe it into the zargs command. So the zargs command is going to run another command on every line that happens there. And what we're going to do is we're going to run a shell command. And inside the shell command, we're going to create this variable called response. And the response is going to be the result of using curl, and which goes to dev null. And we're going to use a URL equal to, we're going to record the HTTP code, and we're going to reach out to localhost, and then these brackets over here. And these brackets over here are going to represent each line inside the url.txt. So if the response, which is the HTTP response code, is equal to 200, then we're going to echo valid endpoint found at this endpoint over here, or else we're going to echo invalid or inaccessible endpoint, and then we're going to finish. So basically, we've got our text file with all the URLs. We're going to test them each against the localhost and see which one of these URLs is valid on the localhost. So let's run this this command over here. So it tells us that which ones are invalid. So invalid or inaccessible endpoint, HTTP 000. Okay. So because there was a lot of output there, what we're going to do is we're going to grep. We're going to run the same thing, but we're going to grep for status 200, which is a valid web page. Okay. So it only gave us, it didn't give us any valid endpoints. Huh. I wonder what's wrong there. Oh, you know what? We need an extra slash. So we need to add the slash to the localhost here. Okay. So that's my bad. We're going to run this all again, but we're going to add an extra slash to the localhost here. So over here for localhost, we're going to add a slash. So over here, we're also going to add a slash. And the last thing over here, we're also going to add a slash. Okay, so now that we've done our debugging, this should work. Okay, so it says, huh, so they all came back invalid this time as well. Let's try not grepping for it, and instead let's pipe this out to less. Oh. Let's not pipe this out. Let's just go over the results. So invalid or inaccessible endpoint. So are these all invalid or inaccessible? No, we found a valid endpoint. Oh, this didn't output the HTTP 200. So we were able to find our valid endpoint. It's this one right here. Okay. So what we can do is copy this. Whoops, we don't need to open this link. We need to copy this, and then we need to use curl. So it's just going to be curl and then this. So when we access this endpoint, we did our brute forcing to figure out that this is a valid endpoint. And we get the password for the next level. Okay. So we just need to copy this, and remember, let's go back to the home directory. This is the password for the Celeste user. Okay, so let's write our after action report before we finish this level. So we're going to go back to GitHub here. And we're going to go to level 28, which is the Lola level. We're going to edit a file. Okay, so our target user for this level was the Celeste user. And the method of solve for this level was we needed to fuzz the localhost website for a valid page based on a list of potential endpoint names. Okay, and so our key commands in this case, so we got this key command over here, which was basically appending the HTML suffix to all the lines in that file. And it was like this. So this was pages.txt, and the out file that we created was called url.txt. And the second thing we did was we did this long script-like command here, but we needed to include our slash to the local host, otherwise it wasn't going to work. Okay, so let's save this out. All right, everybody, so this was a guided walkthrough for the Lola level, otherwise known as level number 28, from the Venus CTF labs from hackmyvm.eu. If you enjoyed watching this guided walkthrough, please click on the like and subscribe buttons on the video and leave a comment underneath the video. But until next time, HackerFrogs out.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.